So this is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan now has given to us The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2. That's assuming that you read and studied Volume 1, by the way. But in Volume 2, it shows how Jews literally took over the black economy. I mean, they run the economy anyway, but this illustrates how they took over our community in particular. Now, don't you think we need to know something about that? If our community, if our homes, our families have been subverted by an external force that we didn't know where it was coming from, then we should thank whoever's telling us, giving us this kind of information. But one of the things that led to their success even now is their land ownership. During slavery, before slavery, they took over the land because they always knew the value of land and the acquisition thereof. And so even with the lending crisis and mortgage crisis and foreclosure crisis that's taking place today, this is really nothing new. They set up these predatory lending practices hundreds of years ago. It just took on slightly different forms as of recent. You ever wonder why it's called a mortgage? Here's a little etymology for you. Mortgage. Mort, its root word has to do with death. Like mortality. You go to the mortuary or the morgue. See? Dead. This gauge has to do with like a notice. So a mortgage is literally a death notice. Because when people had the land now, when they would lend people this land and the people were not able to pay, they had to pay with something that ultimately led with their life. Because the land was just that valuable to them. You see? And so look at how many lives are being destroyed now because of these same predatory lending practices that are taking place today. But he was able to summon power, the Jews, Caucasians in general, because of their ownership of the land. And as a result of the land, everything else grew. They united around agriculture. Even though they had us working the land, they owned the land. The Jews owned the land. Their other Gentile brethren managed the land sometimes, but we worked the land. You see? But through the land, all other businesses flourished. Now, I'm right here in Memphis, and this whole area of Mississippi, Arkansas, this part of Tennessee was known as King Cotton. Because cotton was king in this area. Don't you know the cotton industry is what made this whole area grow financially? Don't you know that banks and insurance companies grew as a result from their investments in the land? This is why, as the land and crops and agriculture grew, banks were able to pop up. That's why you had banks, even though it's known as, I think, regions today, it was union planters. Planting what? Insurance companies were able to come up. Farmers insurance. All businesses, because everything comes from the land. See, they know the value of land. Check this out. Y'all heard of Delta Airlines, right? Don't you know Delta Airlines, before it was ever Delta Airlines, it was a little bitty company with just a few crop dusting planes. They would spray over the cotton. But since cotton grew, since slavery and cotton grew and the business grew, Delta was able to grow. So now you have Delta Airlines, a commercial airline industry. From the land. See, he knows the value of having property. He knows the value of having land, especially when you know what to do with it. So there are people all centered around agribusiness. Let me give you just a quick history now, because you need to know this. Don't you want to know who's feeding you? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, Monsanto was a big-time pesticide industry. They're the ones that make Roundup. They know how to kill plants, right? And they're good at that. You spray some Roundup, your stuff die. All right? But Monsanto grew. It grew to the point where they took over land and plants, to the point that they took over the seed industry. So the seeds that we get that are grown on these farms and whatnot are genetically engineered seeds. That's why when you buy seeds and plants and stuff from Home Depot and whatnot, they have what they call terminator seeds, where they won't grow. Then you got all these hybrids and stuff like that, stuff that's just unnatural. Poison. Bees are dying because of the plants that they are pollinating from is poisonous. The stuff that we're eating is poisonous from the seed level now. See, the enemy, he done went all the way down to the seed. It's one thing to get the food and then put your little poisons in it after you hook it together and give it. But no, he does it on the seed level. So most of the seeds that you even try to buy so you can try to do your garden have been corrupted. That's why people now are going into these heirloom seeds, and you have to look over on websites just to get real seeds nowadays. But Monsanto owns most of the crops and seeds that are produced. Corn flakes. That's why you see corn in everything. Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. It's just, but these are ones that are taking care of us. Somebody that does not have our best interest at heart. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan has taught us that the merchants of death, that our people are dying from this intake of food prepared by the merchants of death. So the enemy is feeding us. The enemy is taking care of us. And we don't even know who he is. That's powerful. I'm reminded of that scripture in the Bible where Jesus gave this parable of the wicked husbandman. There was a man who had some land, but he had to go off into a far country. So he left his land and his property and his vegetation in the hands of what's called some wicked husbandmen. Remember, husbands are supposed to take care of the land, take care of the crops, but these were wicked husbandmen. And while this man was going off into a distant land, these people just totally corrupted the land, destroyed the land, and to the point where they even killed the man's son when he came to check on his father's land. And the scripture was asked, what should be done to somebody like this? And the reply was, they shall be utterly slayed. So I'm going to ask you, with people like Monsanto and all these big-time corporations who have taken over the land that God promised us and have corrupted the land and killed the people of God, what should be done to some damn people like that? And you know what? This is why he referred to us as gods. But we should not look at that in just some rote, just quoting it, in a cliche kind of way. What's up, God? No, because really a God is as a God does. He called us gods, but that's like calling a seed a tree. You're not lying. If I have an orange seed, in that orange seed is a tree. It just hadn't manifested yet. See, in you is God, the potential, the inclination, the propensities to demonstrate godliness, his power, his wisdom, his influence, but we're not there yet. You see? So we're God, but we're God on a seed level. And just like a seed, it has to be cultivated, it has to be developed before it can manifest what it truly is to be. So you are God, children of the Most High God. But now we have to be involved in a cultivation process. And that's what the Nation of Islam is. It's a certain training for you to lead us into Godship. So we have to be developed. This is why in Islam, We have a call to prayer in our Adhan. In the Adhan, which is the call to prayer, it's actually more than just a call to prayer. It is a call to development. And in that Adhan, you hear us say, Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala salah. Come to prayer, come to prayer. And then it's followed by Hayya ala falah, Hayya ala falah. And normally we would say, come to success. And it is a call to success. Come to success. But this word falah, the word falah in its exact meaning in Arabic means to expose what is hidden. To bring out what's not seen, to bring out what's hidden. You know, just like that seed, it's a tree in its undeveloped form. But a falahim or a farmer, that's why they're called a falah or falahim, it's farmers. A farmer has to bring out what's hidden, bring out what's in the seed through cultivation. It's not going to pop up overnight, but it's a process. So when you hear this, hayya ala falah, it is a call to be developed, a call to cultivation, a call to success. I hope y'all hear me now. So we're literally being called to undergo a tedious process, a tedious, somewhat strenuous process to make us into what we're supposed to be, which is God's mind. Now this man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said that if your religion is not based on the universal order of things, then you have no religion. If your religion, whatever you want to call it, if it is not based on the universal order of things, then that is no religion at all. If your religion has a teaching that conflicts with the natural laws of the universe, then I'm telling you, you have a false religion. And you need to let it go. Even if you're a Muslim and your understanding of your religion causes you to be just as spooky as those who believe in a spook God, I'm telling you, you need to let go of that spook religion. All praise is due to Allah. Because anything that is of God has to be based on the order of his creation. But we've become so far removed that the enemy has deceived us into believing that everything God made has order, has structure, has purpose, except your belief in God. That's a clear sign that Satan has taken over. Look, Satan has done his job. He's deceived us so well that he has us believing that God does not have to make sense. Come on. Come on. Don't you know that's the best way to deceive a person? If I can convince you that God does not have to make sense, I can tell you anything and you'll believe it. Oh, man. But this is why the Holy Quran is so powerful. Because the Holy Quran is based on the universal order of things. And that's why Islam is necessary for our salvation. When I say Islam, when we say Islam, we're not talking about some Arab religion. We're talking about the true nature of the human being. This is why Islam is referred to as Din al-Fitra, the natural way. It is your nature. It is in accord with the natural order of things. But we're so removed from the natural order that it looks almost strange to us.